Hi everyone, today I just want to make a video on 10 things that you can do before stopping to drink alcohol. I ended up stopping in 2017 and stopped for 5 years before thinking I could moderate again, and then before you knew it I was back into bad habits, and thankfully this year in July I ended up quitting. But there are loads of techniques out there that you can do to really help you stay off the booze. The first time I actually quit drinking, I pretty much did it on my own, didn't watch any YouTube videos, didn't speak to anyone. Thankfully I ended up somehow doing 5 years, but looking back it would have been really, really good if I had some advice from somebody who's been there and done it, just to kind of help me along the journey. The first thing is just coming up with your reason why. Everyone quits for a different reason. Maybe it's family reason, maybe it's you've fallen out with friends, maybe you've just never got any money any of the time, maybe you're fed up of being lethargic. So it's really important when you're going into a new task, whether it be stopping to drink alcohol or anything other in your life, when you're making a big commitment, to just think of a proper reason why. And this can be reasons as well, it just doesn't need to be one. Secondly, take all those reasons and write them down. What I always suggest to people is just get a bit of paper, or maybe go into the notes on your phone, maybe go into OneNote, on your laptop, and just have two sections. Write down why you want to quit, those sleepless nights, terrible energy levels, spending too much money, not doing well at work, putting stuff on the back burner around the house like DIY. The list's absolutely endless. And then on the other side of the page, just write all the benefits that you'll get from that as well, which is a complete opposite, of course, of all the reasons why you're quitting. So, you're getting better sleep, you'll be able to save money, you'll be doing well in life, you'll be spending more time with your kids, you'll be more reliable. The list's just absolutely endless, but I think if you write them all down after you've kind of came up with the reason why, then you're on to a winner. The third is just to remove all temptations. I think that's quite an obvious one when you think about it. You don't want to be 1 week in and it's the Friday night and you open up the fridge and there's loads of beer cans there. It's just not ideal. Another thing I would suggest to do while you're removing all those temptations around the house, the reminders, is just to keep your house or apartment or flat or whatever, keep it really tidy. It's really nice going into the weekend knowing you've got a booze-free house, everything's really clean, your bedroom's clean, and it'll really help you along the way. The fourth one is social situations. What you don't want to do is you don't want to end up being a few weeks off the booze and you've got a party at work do, a Christmas do, a friend's visiting, and you just haven't planned for it really. And we all know what's going to happen there. Your friend's going to turn up, or your mate, or you're going to go to this Christmas party or wherever, and someone's going to offer you a drink, a free drink when you come in, or somebody will buy you a drink at the bar, and you'll just crumble. But what I suggest to do is just come up with cover stories. And there's a lot of good ones you could do. Maybe you could say that you're doing a 30-day challenge, or you're doing a 90-day challenge, even though you're hoping to stay off it forever. That cushions the blow a lot with people, because they've been in the same boat as well, so they'll most likely encourage you. You can also take the car with you, for example, so you're not going to drive. You can also say that you need to get up really early in the morning so you can't drink. There's lots and lots of stories that I used to use to get through that night. The fifth one is just to find healthy replacements. I remember when I first quit drinking alcohol back in 2017, I think my body just really needed to replace the effect of what alcohol was doing on my body. And I'm no scientist, don't claim to be, but my body was definitely recognizing there was something missing. So it was great to have some other alternatives there in the house. Things like herbal tea, for example, just to drink. I mean, I had big cravings for fruit for some reason. I also had really big cravings for desserts, and I found after I'd had dinner and then I was sitting there a few hours later, I would maybe get a craving. So instead of having something like an alcohol-free beer, I would just end up having something like a cheesecake. I would normally just walk to the shop, find a good dessert, and that would pretty much keep me on track. The sixth tip before you stop drinking alcohol, I think, is to track your progress. I think we all really benefit from seeing with our own eyes how far we've actually come. And there's quite a few ways you can do that. I mean, in the past, originally I had an Excel spreadsheet where I just downloaded a calendar and I would just simply X off all the days. And it is a really good boost to look back after a week, a month, 6 months, to just look at all those X's on the screen. It just gives you that boost that reminds you how far you've came. Nowadays, you can have apps like Days Since you can use in the UK that are free, and they basically just count the days that you've been off the booze, and I find them quite helpful, and a lot of people find them quite helpful, where you just add in the date where you had your last drink, and it will just be a simple counter. And for those of people who are counting at the moment, I'm 99.9% sure that one day, normally after you've done a year, because that's a massive milestone, once you're 13, 14 months in, you just kind of stop doing it. I don't even think about alcohol anymore. I don't even know how many days that have passed without a drink, and I don't really plan on keeping track ever again. The seventh tip, sorry, is just to build a support network. I think it's really important to have people around you that have been in the same situation, and a lot of us won't have somebody who's a close friend or family member that you don't want to speak to, who has actually been off the alcohol. But the difference is these days, and something I didn't do, like I mentioned back in 2017, is there's so many YouTube communities and YouTube groups, and you don't need to join any or anything like that if you don't want to. But I find it really useful to have a network built up, and ideally, if you have a friend that's been there and done it before, or a family member, they're absolutely great, because it's just somebody there to support you, to kind of just be a mentor. There's nothing better than when you're going through something and they've been through it before, and they reassure you that, this is normal. You probably would be feeling lethargic. I felt lethargic, or maybe you've got cravings or your anxieties before the Christmas period, and somebody's there to reassure you. But like I say, if you don't have that, there's loads of good ones online, and it's just such a great feeling to find people online that are maybe been in the same situation as you, similar background, maybe a similar age, you kind of resonate with all their stories, and that's just a really handy and very valuable thing to do. The eighth tip is just to prepare for your cravings, and at night time, it's not rocket science, you're going to get some cravings there, and they might last a week, they might last a month, they might last a whole year, and I see some people who comment on my videos that hundreds and hundreds of days and years into it, they still get cravings. And I think that's always going to be there with the friends around you drinking alcohol. It's in all the shops. You'll put on a movie and everybody's drinking in the movie, having a great time, and you just have this momentary kind of 1 second thought in your head that you want a drink. But I would just make sure you prepare for them, and what you can do is just every time you get a big craving, I used to always just go for a walk, a really good walk, and it tended to actually disappear. Another thing I would do is I would normally wait for a craving, then have a big meal. That would just put me right off. As soon as I was full, the last thing on my mind was kind of cracking open a pint of Guinness. And of course, if you have the support network there for you, you have a good friend, just give them a phone, just tell them ahead, I might phone them, and they'll be there for you, and you can just have a good chat with them, a good laugh. And I'm pretty sure that after the 5, 10, 15 minutes of, let's say, going for if you go for a walk or just go to the shop maybe and get something, the craving will be gone. The ninth tip is just something a bit different, and it's just to be kind to yourself. We always tend to kind of beat ourselves up, and it's just not a good way to go into something that's so you're committing a big thing that I'm never going to drink again. So just be kind to yourself while you're leading up to it. Just imagine what your life's going to be like going forward. Imagine there's going to be this new version of you. You're going to be known as the non-drinker, and just don't kind of beat yourself up. I see so many people getting themselves in such a state that they're losing alcohol. But just like I say, just go back to point 2, I think it was, where if you do if you are getting those feelings and the anxiety, etc., just write down, just read what you wrote down before about all the reasons why you're quitting, because there's a reason why you're doing this. And at the end of the day, it's just alcohol. It's just a liquid in a glass that has just kind of gotten into your life, a really bad habit, and you can get rid of it. So just try and be kind. And the tenth and final tip is just to stay positive. Just be excited about this journey you're going on. Just constantly remind yourself about how good you're going to feel. Just imagine what your bank account's going to look like when you've got months and months and years of saving in it. Just imagine how kind of happy your kids are going to be once you've quit alcohol and you're spending all this time and you've got more money to spend on them. And think of the no Monday mornings waking up feeling like crap. Think of all the weight you can lose if that's what you want to do. Think about what a fitter version of you is going to look like, or a version of you that's kind of went back to college or uni, or went back and done a major certification at work that's now getting promoted. And so just have that positive thought. Just don't mourn the loss of this thing that you hated, because it's just so ingrained in our mind, and we start thinking, oh, well, I can't believe I'm not drinking again. All those good times, they weren't good times. That's the thing. It's just that alcohol in your system, and you're still in your brain reminding you. Just keep reminding yourself of all the crap it put you through, and that's the situation you're in now. So just be positive, be kind to yourself, and you'll within weeks and within months there'll be this new version of you who you absolutely love. I hope you found those 10 tips useful. Please like and subscribe if you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.